Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the next installment of this series where we document our conversations and life goings about. So, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm starting to get a rhythm here. I'm starting to really feel like I might be able to get better at more stream of consciousness thinking and, putting my thoughts out there for the good world to listen in on. How do you feel about it? You starting to get a groove here?
I I particularly like that it doesn't take me so long anymore to edit these things. I remember that tutorial where the introduction video took me like a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, that took far too long. Yeah, got me impatient up in this bitch.
Yeah, asking every day.
Right. So let's talk about the first topic here today. We're going to be talking about GMOs, the Mr. Beast situation, and how this guy he made a YouTube video recently where he was showing us all, he was showcasing all of this futuristic tech. It looked really cool. I'm personally very optimistic about the future. I'm a half full glass type of guy, and when I saw the the naturally, or I guess unnaturally, but it's natural too, unnaturally made chicken, I was just like, holy shit, this is like the way forward for the future. We don't have no more bloodshed just to get a good chicken nugget, you know what I mean? Like, accuse me of being a PETA activist and sucking off the red rocket, but I love our animals, Alex.
Well,
I don't think we should be mass harvesting them. It's definitely a reflection of our own character, and we're moving into a new world anyway. And I fully embrace and welcome this change. Like a lot of people are fear mongering over this and being like, it's not real chicken, it's fake, it's not going to be healthy for you. But if you're synthetically making it out of the same building blocks of like, organic matter and whatnot, then like, where's the difference? The only difference is that you didn't slaughter the damn thing to get your chicken.
I'd actually be concerned about the are there any trace elements to be found in this product? Is it because there are actually
Safety concerns are
enzymes,
valid.
there are enzymes and amino acids in meat that I would have to have confirmed is present in this product. Like it would have to be confirmed that those are present for like me to actually say like, yeah, this is good, because otherwise it's just an imitation. It's like meat flavored cake if it doesn't have those
Sure, as
things.
long as long as it's providing the protein that an ordinary chicken would, which I don't see why we couldn't get to a point where that totally would be the case. I mean, people say it functionally tastes like chicken anyway. And honestly, if it did just taste like chicken, and we had to get our what would the chicken have offered through another method? Like, I don't know. It sounds a little soy, but drinking it, right? I would prefer that option.
Well,
Be-
you know,
because we only eat chicken for the sensory experience anyway.
I don't know, man. I like chicken. I like my fried
I mean,
chicken. I like my chicken
right,
wings.
right. And if it tasted exactly like a chicken wing, it's purely a sensory experience for you. It's not like you're like, oh, it's missing those enzymes. I can feel it. The enzymes, they're missing. Like, no, niggas don't give a fuck, bro.
No, those are
Unless
like
the only reason you'd give a fuck is because I'm not slaughtering a chicken. Yeah.
I'm just saying that those amino acids are like important for the body to build things. Like if you don't
No,
have
I'm
those,
sure.
you
I'm
can't do
sure.
that.
I'm kind of sure. I'm sure those are in there anyway, though. I don't see why not. They're made from chicken cells. Like they would
Okay.
have like chicken cells that would grow into a chicken if properly maintained and whatnot. You understand what I'm saying?
Alright.
like the base building blocks are there. So, man, and then there's a bunch of people you got in this space talking about how they're gonna make you eat the bugs. The WM, we're gonna make you eat the bugs. And like people freak out that these synthetic meats are made with something else, as if this is like fucking 1200s during Europe during the bubonic plague or whatever, and it's like the king gets meat and the peasants only get their fucking slop with fucking oatmeal and shit, porridge, whatever the hell their equivalent was at the time, right? But I'm not buying that because there is so much abundance in this world. The only reason we don't see that abundance is because there's no love, and with no love, you get greedy people. But in due time, we can spread that love. Because if you think about it, Emil, like if you back in the day, if you went out and hunted and you got yourself an elk, a deer, that thing would last you like a whole month. Think about the return on investment, the ROI on that adventure, on that risk, on that investment that you made. That one interaction, because you have to think about how life is kind of fractal, reality is fractal, right? So like that one interaction within the microcosm of the environment is representative of the whole as well. Meaning, if there is abundance at the micro level, there is also abundance at the macro level. Granted, though, we are obviously probably... I mean, we are a bit unnatural in the fact that we're humans, right? So we could, in some sense, exceed the carrying capacity. But at the same time, because we're humans, that carrying capacity could be very mendable because it's dependent upon the environment, right? It's what determines the carrying capacity. But we can change our environment. So, let me think here. Stream of consciousness just kind of fucking locked out on me for a second. You want to take over, baby?
I mean,
start conversating, man. Come on.
Start conversating. Jeez, I don't actually know a whole lot about the GMO issue. As far as I'm concerned, it's like, does it taste good? Is it good for you?
Well,
like those are the things that matter.
Well, right. I mean, those two things. I mean, I think they're gonna be pretty well satisfied in time as our science advances. I really don't see a problem with people getting up in arms. People love to make fun of Mr. Beast, by the way. They really do like to try and tear this guy down as of late, I've noticed. He does a lot of bad things, but I guess. But this guy does so much incomprehensible good that it's like, we should probably be a bit more fucking gentle with these criticisms, at least be fun about it, not fear mongering. I hate the fear mongering that's going on in the culture right now. People are so scared about the future, so terrified about what those in power are going to do. But you know something, Emil? Something a bit personal. Let's just air it out for the world. Every revolution that has ever happened in mankind's history has always started from the bottom up. And I mean, now there are revolutions that kind of happen in, civil wars that happen at the higher level, right? But it's not the same energy, it's not the same vibe. So what I'm suggesting is that what needs to happen in this world, Emil, it needs to be a top-down revolution, which is part of why I'm here, right? It needs to be a top-down revolution. Let me be a bit more clear on my words. There needs to be a consciousness renaissance amongst the elites, right? And I think Mr. Beast, Jimmy over here, he's a really good representation of what that consciousness renaissance could look like amongst the elites. This is a guy who's actually giving his money back to people in so many ways. We really should, like, of all people to criticize, I get it, but because, we're all human, we should be criticizing each other to the point where we do fulfill our intended role and purpose. But man, are there bigger fish to fry than this? Am I right? I mean, there are far bigger fish to fry than this, and it's all in our minds individually. So I think that's about all I wanted to discuss on the topic. Just alleviate some fears on that issue. Just give my thoughts, my opinions, and just say what I think about food. Because it's evil. It's evil to just kill, hunt, prey upon people or anything. It's just it says in the Bible, by the way, Emil, that all the animals are going to be living on harmony in the earth. Did you know that? Yeah. Stream of consciousness just popping up for right now. Yeah, okay. So fucking the Bible, dude. It literally says all the lion will lay with the lamb. So that also means the chicken shall also be with man. It rhymes. The chicken shall also be with man. We have no need to hunt anymore. All right. So let's move on to the next story here. This, because there's this I wanted to talk about, but then let's talk about what's hot in the culture. Lakari, this dude, a pedophile. Oh shit, I don't know if I could have said that. Fuck, you might have to bleep that out, Alex, because I just realized I actually might get fucking dinged. Oh well, PDF. You know what, I don't know if you have to blur it out. Who cares? Fuck it. It's a word. Okay, so we're going to talk about this situation, and, well, I'm not going to comment on pedophilia, because that shit's obviously bad, although I will say this. I saw this dude, Nick Fuentes. Emil, you won't fucking believe it. This dude actually, he's got a big audience, and he's got a big mouthpiece, and this dude went ahead and was making, basically, arguments for the PDFs, and he was saying how you were biologically ready at 12 or 14. And
what?
Oh yeah, this is happening in the culture. Maybe you shouldn't live under a rock. It's actually very fascinating when you look out and beyond and see what's going on in the discourse of this world, which is exactly
culture. I like my rock more.
Right, but we gotta fucking fix it, my guy. We gotta change it. Bob the Builder up in this bitch. Can we fix it? Yes, we can! With the power of love and friendship.
That is
okay? Blow my dick from the back. It's gonna happen. So, yeah, no, let's talk about the gooner epidemic that is happening in this country with pornography. Basically, this Lakari dude eventually, he's basically, whipping himself, saying, sorry, my bad, making all these excuses and whatnot as well. He made countless excuses, I'm not going to go over them. The fact of the matter is, we all know that he has definitely viewed that content and whacked off to it. But I think the greater concern that people are, there's too much hate. They're not really looking how to actually address this situation in a serious manner. I think it should be addressed in, and not in which the severity of death, right? Something that kind of stood out to me is that this guy called porn an addiction, right? And I can see how this porn addiction could very easily lead you to essentially taboo things, as it naturally does, right? Because let's be honest, being gay, polyamory, these are already deviant things from the natural blueprint of how our design was intended to go, how we were supposed to interact with each other as a species, right? So we're already swimming in a cesspool of shit. And I want to let this be something of a beacon, a light, a moment to reflect on, where we could say, this isn't merely an addiction. This is a hijacking of a primal and necessary function that our bodies were designed and intended to fulfill. which is that of procreation, right? The creation of the new, the next generation, right? It's a very holy, it's a very sacred and beautiful thing, but we completely destroy it and corrupt it with porn. But of course, that's not the only thing that contributes to this phenomenon. See, I also want to kind of make some connections here. So we can say the predatory mindset. See, there are people who are making very logical, very unfortunately logical arguments that would make sense to a certain sect of the population. So we need to avoid that. We need to avoid that shit. And there is only one way you can avoid that shit. And it is in recognizing this. To recognize the fact that humanity is moving past a survival mindset and into a creative one. And it is also prophesied in the Bible that we are to be like God, to be like creators. And to become like a creator, you need to shed the old world views of survival. The old world systems of power. And in these old world systems of power, of survival, what was involved in survival? Gaining resources. And these resources, people would hoard them, and they would value them. That's where all the status, power came from, right? And it would cause, because you would have this power imbalance due to wealth, it would cause people, everybody, male and female, to start viewing love transactionally. And that transactional behavior is actually predatory behavior. It's survival behavior. Because what do you do when you survive? You have to exploit, you have to take advantage, you have to look for weaknesses. That's what you do when you're surviving. That's what you do when you're making a transaction. You're thinking, all right, what can I bring to the relationship? What do I get? What are they getting? What can they give? That's purely a survival mindset. That's of the jungle. You're not called to be of the jungle. So let's move on. So you can see then how this then completely destroys the argument for pedophilia. Like it dissolves it into the ground. Because obviously it's exploiting the child, right? Of their ignorance and etc. Power and power imbalance. But the reason I want to show you how that's the same is because everyone else in society, everyone else in the world is participating in the same predatory mindset. Like the same reason a predator exists is the same reason that many people's loves fail. Because they are chasing love. They are coming at it from a completely different, a transactional angle. And here is the biggest stress test for this idea, this philosophy, and it's the idea of incest. See, with the pedophile issue, the exploitation is very clear, right? The exploitation is very clear. The incest case, however, is where it gets tricky. This is where my truth really shows that it is foundational and absolute, basically. Because if you had a sterile relationship between two consenting adults, Emil, who are we to say that that's wrong? Like, I feel deep down viscerally that's gross. It's also something that tore apart my family, so it hits a little close to home. But because a lot of people, there's a lot of love is free types, and love is free, you're also kind of justifying the pornography industry, which also is very exploitative of humanity. And I'm trying to take all these things down and show people how this is all inherently revolting behavior to basically participate in. And so what would we say, Emil, to the case of incest? Like, if you ignore my answer, what would you say? Between two consenting adults and they acknowledge that it's sterile and that they won't make a family. What do you say about that?
It's weird.
Yeah, you would only be able to say it's weird. That's all you could say. You You could say it's wrong. You could say it's like you're taking advantage. You could say they're taking advantage, but if they're an adult and they're consenting, they got their free will, they're very conscious, they're aware. You can't even make that argument, right? So there is only one argument then that works. There is only one argument that works, and it has to be the idea that transactional behavior is evil. It's predatory. And what is the thing being transacted here, Emil? What is the thing being transacted here? It's the feelings. It's the dopamine hits that you get from the relationship, right? And as gross as it may sound, a relationship with your dad, maybe if you're a girl, might actually be easier, like literally, than to deal with someone you're really supposed to love, because there's going to be a lot less friction, right? And again, it's just going to be easier because of the nature of what that relationship is. But that doesn't excuse it for being true, real, or valid, because again, while they may not be viewing it in transactional terms, that is still what is going on at the end of the day, right? Because I mean, they are in some sense making that analysis, because they are making that analysis when they say that. They're like, all right, I'm engaging in this, but I'm not going to yield a family. So they are making that calculus. They are making that economic calculus regardless. So it is the mindset is still there. And that mindset is what reveals. It is the fucking silver bullet that reveals to us how to essentially purge ourselves of all of our degenerate practices when it comes to sex, basically. I've truly found the holy grail in this situation. How do you feel about that? You would have to also imagine the implications.
Philosophically destroy something, but like you're gonna have to.
Well, I mean, knowledge is power.
Sure, but you're gonna have to expand on it in a way that convinces more than just philosophically minded.
Sure, I mean, but I'm sure we can have lots of scientific literature to back me up. I mean, I don't think it would be any surprise to say that porn probably hijacks the novelty response in your brain. And so, or the you know, how like you'll have to have like ever increasing stimulus to get off. Like, science knows that's a thing, and that's obviously bad. You shouldn't need a constantly increasing stimulus. Because if you're with someone you love, you're just kind of, you're like really love, you're just gonna, like, even though you're dealing with the same person, like, you're gonna find those avenues to, like, create that sense of novelty anyway. With just each other.
I think
Look,
that actually
a lot of people. Also, you have to understand. A lot of people already do understand porn is bad anyway, and I think establishing the philosophy here is important because it demolishes the idea of polyamorous relationships, and because again, you are forced to think in transactional terms because now you're dividing up your time, right? Yeah, because now it becomes even more central of like, all right, what are you bringing when you come into the relationship? You know what I mean? That's definitely part of the math in a way that just couldn't possibly be healthy to center around. You see what I'm saying? The gay issue as well. They would be transacting their feelings on, you know, their shared trauma, their shared sense of we are oppressed, right? Like they're getting the dopamine hit of, oh, somebody understands me, because being understood is also a critical component of love too, right? So you could see how they could actually believe in a lie. They could lie to themselves and be like, oh, this must be love. Trauma, man, like trauma bonding. Like it's it's transactional. Like we have to really acknowledge these things of what's going on in society, and I think this is really the silver bullet, man. feels so good, so righteous, so true, so the fruit, so fruity. No, I think a lot of people would agree with me, Emil. I really do. And I think what would help even more as a pitch to the audience, to those who do agree with me, maybe add to the conversation, expand upon my thoughts. What have you seen in this world? And like, what are your thoughts on the things I'm saying? I would love to engage with the comments. You always know I'm very willing to engage in these comments, which there are none right now, but soon, one day. All right, I mean, yeah. So this Lakari guy, I guess we're gonna backtrack to him real quick. So a guy like this, they obviously would need rehab, to say the least. I don't even think therapy would actually do it justice. I think there needs to be a rehabilitation system, and this rehabilitation system needs to have a required education, right? And certainly some of the things, as you would naturally suspect, some of the things that I've already outlined would, of course, be part of that education process. But we really need an education process in this world to go down on, like, how to approach love in the correct and proper way, and to truly treat it as something sacred. Like actually, Emil, like, you could imagine in the future one day, school, like education as we know it, if I was to have a standardized education, one of the classes would have to be, and it would be a class you see every year, but it would be learning how to love. Like, that would absolutely have to be. And it's not about learning it's not about learning how to love others. It's more so learning about how to love yourself and know yourself and find yourself, and etc. And because I think, I mean, we'll teach the other values too, but you know, there's other values that are quite more important that need to be taught. And so I think instead of treating a man like this with mockery, ridicule, and most quite fucking frankly, to be honest, which is the most common, death, and just like wishing death upon people and continuing the karmic cycle of violence, maybe we should instead be preaching, you know what, man, that really fucking sucks. This is undoubtedly the worst thing you could have possibly chosen to do, but because we are interested in the betterment of humanity as a whole, we will have to send you to a re-education camp, and you need to change. You need to change, and we will know when you change, because actions speak louder than words, right? And so the proof is in the pudding. One day, I guess their final test is in their actions and choices, right? However that is, if they have to be in rehab forever, then so be it, but however long it takes, right? Because I do believe knowledge is power, and ignorance is one of our greatest enemies, one of the few enemies that we have. And it just makes sense to approach the situation this way instead of the way other people be doing it. It's time for a change. Time for a change, ladies and gentlemen, a change. Because I am fucking tired. I am tired of the hate, tired of the fear mongering. I want optimism. I want a new world made in the image of the good, glorious God. We all know him. We all love him. It's obviously Jesus. It's obviously Jesus. And Jesus is a lot of things. As we all know, he's a lot of things that we could talk about in due time. All right, final thoughts that you want to wrap it up with? Because yeah, I'm feeling good. I talked about everything I wanted to hit. Food and porn, the two necessities of life. Food and sex, rather. Not porn.
Well, that's it.
That's it. You have no thoughts to expand upon here. You're pretty limp dick today.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really because, like, my opinion on the food thing is, does it taste good? Is it good for you?
Right.
That's my opinion on it.
Right, I was more so wanting you to gauge my ideas in particular, because I think we know GMO's good if they're made good, and fucking sexually deviancy bad. But I was more so prescribing a solution, because ideology is important, you know, like it actually, like, you need an ideological grounding to make a movement around and to like have truth be stable and real, right? I mean, for example, I think therefore. I mean, think about how the statement "I think therefore I am" is foundational to Western thought, but like, it could lead us down some very wrong paths with AI. So it really is important to establish foundational thought in a way that matters, and I think identifying this transactional nature of love that people like to envision it as is just, it's, I'm not, and you know me, I'm not one to call things evil because I don't believe in such a thing, but other than perhaps nihilism. But this is about as close to it as it gets. I might even be able to argue that this idea of transactional love might even just simply be an offshoot of nihilistic philosophy. Of which, I mean, at this point, yeah, I guess there are things that are evil in this world. I guess, you know what? I guess there is fucking good and evil. Actually, I take it back. I mean, technically, there is no such thing as good and evil, but, you know, that's once we have heaven. But as for right now, I guess there is good and evil after all. Right?
I mean, it's all perspective, obviously. Once you have a strong enough...
A lot of it can be.
When you have a strong enough perspective one way, there's obviously there's an opposite perspective that you would consider evil.
It's rather I gained enough clarity on my like overall perspective of how to like engage with the world that I have essentially been able to sniff out its polar opposite. Which again, and I think we could actually at this point say my if nihilism is evil, what would be a philosophy that describes everything? Hold on. What is the exact opposite philosophy of nihilism? Existentialism? I don't even know if any of these do me justice. Yeah, no. None of these do it justice. I would have to have, because the idea of nihilism is that nothing matters, right? Basically, my belief is that everything matters. Because it does. It's all made of matter. It's scientifically and verifiably true. As well as metaphysically and poetically and figuratively and metaphorically and literally. It just works on every which way you want to look at it. All the meanings. I got all the meanings. I have a monopoly on meaning. No, I don't, but almost. I gotta let you breathe. I gotta let y'all breathe. So, alright, so yeah, no, anything else out? Anything else, Emil?
No.
Okay, I guess, alright then, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about for today's episode. We will see you all in the next one. Peace out, brothers.